Okay, Chapter 1 review, and this is actually a star review that we should know already. Okay, number 1. Which of the following numbers is irrational? Remember, irrational means it doesn't repeat, it doesn't terminate, it goes on forever and ever. So if you plug this into your calculator, square root of 121, you should get the number 11, which is rational. This one, there is nothing that repeats and it doesn't end. So this one is irrational. Okay, this one would be 1.8, so that would make it rational. And this one is a repeating decimal, so it is also rational. So remember, irrational numbers never repeat, they don't terminate because they're irrational. So your answer here would be B. Number 2. In which region should you write the number the square root of 12 in the diagram below? So if we did the square root of 12 in your calculator, you're going to get 3.464101615, and it just keeps going. So again, what kind of numbers keep going? They do not terminate, they do not repeat. And that would be your irrational numbers. So it's going to go in region D, which is J. Irrational numbers do not terminate, they do not repeat. There's no rhyme or reason, they don't make sense, they're irrational. Number 3. Which of the following number is irrational? Okay, remember, irrational doesn't make sense, doesn't stop, doesn't terminate. Square root of 25 would be 5. Square root of 100 would be 10. The square root of 225 would be 15. The square root of 250 would be 15.8113883, and blah, 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 blah. So again, this one does not terminate. It does not repeat. There's no rhyme or reason. It is irrational. So your answer is D. Irrational numbers do not terminate. They do not repeat. They go on forever. Okay, number 4. Which of the following fractions is equivalent to 3.76 repeating? So I want to turn all these fractions into decimals. To do that, you're going to just put in your calculator, and remember, fraction problems are division problems. That's all a fraction is a division problem. So you're going to divide 37 divided by 9, and you're going to get 4.1 repeating. Remember, when you're having a repeating decimal, you put your notation bar on top of the repeating number. G. 125 divided by 33. 3.78 repeating. H. 41 over 11. And then J, 378 divided by 100. And that's a terminating decimal. Does not repeat. This repeats, this repeats, this repeats. But I want to see what is equivalent to 3.76 repeating. Equivalent to means it equals. It's the same. So your answer would be G. Number 5. Which of the following statements is true? The square root of 16 is irrational. Well, the square root of 16, if you put that in your calculator, will be 4. Is 4 an irrational number? It ends, it's a whole number, so it's not irrational. 5.2 repeating is equivalent to 26 over 5. Plug in 26 in your calculator divided by 5, and you're going to get 5.2. But it is not equivalent because it is not repeating. It's not repeating. So can't be that one either. 2.27 is equivalent to 25 over 11. So if you plug in your calculator 25 divided by 11, you would get 2.27 repeating. So that one does check out, but let's just make sure that it's not D. The square root of 40 is a rational number. If you plug that into your calculator and do the square root of 40, you're going to get a number like this, which continues, and it's irrational. Okay, number 6. Which of the following fractions is equivalent to 6.15 with the 5 repeating? So again, all you're going to do is take the fractions and divide them. So 277 divided by 45 equals 6.1 with the 5 repeating. 55 divided by 9, 6.1 repeating. 615 divided by 100 would be 16.15. Nothing repeats. J would be 554 divided by 99 would be 5.59 repeating. So the one that equals, that is equivalent to 6.15 is F. Remember to make sure you're showing all of your work. If I write it, you write it. Okay, number 7. Point A best represents which value? So I'm wanting something that's going to be between 11 and 12. That's my point A right there. So we have to find out what is this. What are our answers? Square root of 85 would be 9.21. Okay, 9.21 I would think would be C, so that is not our answer. And then if you plug in your calculator 2 times pi, you would get 6.28, which would be B, which is not the letter we're looking for. C, the square root of 56 would be 7.48. 7.48 would be D, so it cannot be C. The 3 with a square root of 15. You put that in your calculator, you would get 11.6189. And so it's the only one that's between 11 and 12. And that's what I want. I want a number between 11 and 12. So D is your answer. Number 8. Point D best represents which value? So now I want D. I want something between 7 and 8. So we're going to do the same process. We're going to put, and actually if you look, those are your numbers right there. They use the same numbers here as they did there. So I have all my answers right here. So which one is between 7 and 8? 7 and 8 would be the 56. The square root of 56 was 7.48. So all my numbers are right there, and you can write them down here if you'd like. But they are the same numbers. So the one that falls between 7 and 8 would be H. Number 9. Which statement is true? The square root of 29 is between 5 and 6. Well, if we plug that into the calculator, you will see the square root of 29 is 5.3. So it does fall between 5 and 6. So I'm thinking that's our answer, but let's double check. Square root of 74, 8.6. Well, that's over 8, so that cannot be our answer. The 2 times the square root of 2 is between 4 and 5. If you put that in your calculator, you're going to get a 5.6. That does not fall between 4 and 5. It's over 5. D, the 2 times the square root of 50 is between 15 and 16. It's actually 14.4, which is less than 15. So A is our correct answer. Sometimes it takes a while to write all this information down, but you need to prove your answer. Always take your time on test. Number 10. Which value provides the best approximation approximately for the square root of 75? If you put the square root of 75 into your calculator, you're going to get an 8.66025. So the best approximation will be something close to 8.6, but then if you round it, this 6 is going to tell this 6 to bump up. So 8.7 would be the best estimate for this problem. Number 11, which graph best represents 2 times the square root of 23? If you plug that into your calculator, you should get 9.591 ... because it keeps going. But we've got to find a dot that is going to best represent it. And it's larger than 9. So I need something that's going to be larger than 9. Cannot be this one or this one, but it's going to be less than 10. So that's the only one that has one less than 10 but more than 9. Okay, number 12. Which expression is greater than 12.5? And all this is really just seeing how much y'all know of your calculator. Because if you put in square root of 130, you're going to get 11.4. And that's not greater. Okay, 3 times pi will get you 9.424, which again is not greater than 12.5. Put in the calculator, 2 times the square root of 85. You're going to get 18.439. Is that greater than 12.5? Yes, but let's double check the last one. Square root of 142 would be 11.91, which is less than 12. So your answer has to be H. Again, it just takes time to prove your answer, plug it into the calculator, and you should get everything right. Okay, number 13. Which shows the numbers ordered from least to greatest? Least to greatest. So let's go and pick out our numbers. We have a 4.1 and 19 divided by 5 would be 3.8. Then you have 3.5 repeating, and the square root of 15 is going to be 3.8729, and that one keeps going. So I think all of our numbers in these are the same, so we need to go from least to greatest. So my least number, let's look up here. 4.1, 3.8, 3.5, 3.87. Okay, so my least number is going to be place value right here, 3.5. Because the 8's larger than a 5, this 8's larger than a 5. So I've got to have this in the spot number 1 because it is my least to greatest. The only one that it's the very first one is D. Process elimination. Look for that smallest number. Okay, number 14. Which of the following expressions are greater than 9? So again, greater than 9, just plug these into your calculator. 7 times the square root of 2 would be 9.89. The square root of 52, 7.2. 3 times the square root of 8 would be 8.4. And then the 4 times the square root of 3 is 6.9. So again, I'm looking for something that is greater than 9. So F is your answer. Greater than 9. Number 15. The different points along the coastline, Lee and 3 friends are watching ships. The table shows the distance each friend can see to the horizon based on their location. So we have all sorts of numbers over here. Let's change them to decimals. Okay, so 2 times the square root of 3 is going to be 3.464. Square root of 27, 5.196. 3 times square root of 2 will be 4.2426. 1/2 the square root of 45. And remember, when you put this in your calculator, if you don't want to do the fraction form, you can do the decimal form. 1/2 is 0.5. And it would be 3.354. Order the names of the friends by the distance from greatest to least. So this time it's going to be greatest to least. So which one is my greatest number? John would be my greatest number. So John would need to go first. So John's there and John's there. So I can eliminate B and D. Now which one is my least number? Your least number would be this one because our 10th spots, 3 is less than 4. So we look down here, we're going to find, oh yeah, we're on the end, so both of them still. So now we're forced to find which one of the middles. So the greatest one, so we've got John, and we've got this one. Let's look for my next greatest one's going to be May. And so May's right there. for my next greatest number. So your answer is C. And that's just ordering them from greatest to least. Number 16. The maximum speed, s, that an animal can walk in feet per second is approximated by the equation s equals 5.7 square root of 1, or L, I guess. Where L is the animal's leg length in feet. What is the maximum walking speed to the nearest tenth of a second for a camel with a leg length of 5.7? So we have a formula. They gave you the formula. We're just going to have to put this in for the leg length. It gave us the leg length. So we have S equals 5.7 with the square root of the leg length, which is 5.7. And so if you put that in your calculator, 5.7 times the square root of 5.7, you'll get 13.60856 ... So the nearest tenth, there's my tenth. We're going to look there. 0 tells that 6 to stay. So it's going to be 13.6. Right, number 17. Yvette is making a blanket. She is going to the craft store for supplies. She wrote her measurements as decimals. Yvette needs 4.6 repeating yards of fabric. Which fabric is equivalent to 4.6 repeating? So we need to go and do our division. 14 divided by 3 is 4.6 repeating. So there's your answer. If we wanted to do the rest of them, we have 11 divided by 3. That would be 3.6 repeating. 41 divided by 9. That would be 4.5 repeating. And then 23 divided by 6 would be 3.83 repeating. Number 18. Which of the following fractions can be represented with a repeating decimal? So again, the notation bar above your number means it is repeating. So 12 divided by 5 would be 2.4. That's a terminating decimal. It ends. 4 divided by 11 would be 0.36 repeating. That's what we were looking for, is the repeating decimal. Just to make sure, 3 divided by 20 would be 0.15. 7 divided by 16, 0.4375. So the repeating decimal would be G. Make sure you're writing this down. Number 19. Which of the following numbers cannot be expressed as a ratio of two integers? Not. Okay, we have negative 34. So we could multiply negative 2 times 17, and that would give me negative 34. Square root of 49 would be 7 times 7. But this pi is irrational. So I can't multiply two numbers to give me pi. So D is your answer. Number 20. Frank uses an online calculator to convert the temperature from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. The online calculator shows the temperature as 23.8 repeating degrees Celsius. Which fraction is equivalent to this? So again, 238 divided by 100, 2.38. 70 divided by 3, 23.3 repeating. 87 divided by 3 is 29. 215 divided by 9 is 23.8 repeating. That matches what we're wanting, so your answer is J. Okay, here's some of the topics that I think were a little bit harder for y'all. Scientific notation. Which exponent correctly completes the equation? Okay, so we're having to find what goes in the box. So remember, we're moving the decimal over. So if I'm starting off with 3, we're going to move it 1, 2, 3 times to get back. Okay, if it's negative, that means it's less than 1. Our answer was not less than 1. And we moved it back 3 times, so your answer is C. 22. Which exponent correctly completes the equation? Okay, so again, we need to move the decimal forward till it's behind the 4. And it is less than 1, so we know it's a negative number, so we can scratch out H and J. It will be negative. So let's count how many times we move the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we moved it back 6 times. 23. Which number is expressed in scientific notation? Remember, must be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. Always power to 10. So in other words, it's always going to be 10 to some power. Okay? That is a must for scientific notation. So which one is in the correct order of scientific notation? It's going to equal a number times 10 to a power. That's the form it's got to be in. So it's got to be greater or equal to 1. So this one is not. It's less than. B, it's got to be greater than or equal to 1. Hold on. That one doesn't have the power to 10. This one is over 10, so it can't be those. And then this one is less than 10, more than 1 to the power of 10 to the 6. So your answer is D. But if you remember all of this, that it must be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10, and it has to be written like this. Always 10 to the power of something. Scientific notation. Okay, number 24. Which of the following numbers is greater than 10,000? Well, let's plug those into the calculator. 7 times 10 to the second power is going to be 700. 1 times 10 to the fourth power would be 10,000. But we're looking for something greater than 10,000. 9 times 10 to the 1 power would be 90. 3 times 10 to the 4th power would be 30,000. So your answer is J. Number 25. Which number is equivalent to 3 times 10 to the negative 5th? Remember, it's going to be less than 1. So we're going to move this decimal back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it's going to look like. So 300,000, 30,000, 3/10,000, or 300,000. And your answer is going to be D. Okay, number 26. The stadium in Central Florida is being renovated at a cost of approximately $200 million, which shows $200 million in scientific notation. So $200 million. You can either plug those into the calculator and see which one gives it to you, or you can just count backwards. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the power has to be to the 8th. So your answer is F. Number 27. In 2011, the Americans used 1.86 times 10 to the 11th power kilowatt hours to light their homes. They used 4.6 times 10 to the 10th power kilowatt hours to run their computers and computer equipment. About how many times more kilowatt hours were used than lights for computers? Okay, so if I took all of we're going to see how much greater this is than this. So if I multiplied it by 2, 3, or 3.5, or 4 times. So if I took the 186, because if I wrote this out, and then I wrote this one out, we'll find room. I can reduce all of those by taking off the same amount of zeros. And that's going to give me 186 divided by 46 is going to equal 4.04. So it's about 4 times as much. Number 28. The mass of an average human cell is about, there you go, kilograms, which shows this number in scientific notation. So remember the rules. It's got to be more than 1 but less than 10. And then it's got to be to the 10th power. So it's going to be between 11 and 12. And it's very negative. So let's see how many spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going back 12 spots. Number 29. The diameter of the sun is approximately 10 billion kilometers, which shows this number in scientific notation. So again, scientific notation, it's got to be less than 10, so it can't be those. So how many spots did I move my decimal back? If I start here after the 1, I'm going to move it back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I moved it back 10 spots. Number 30. In 2013, a population of California was approximately 3.8 times 10 to the 7th power, while the population of Colorado was about 5.2 to the 10th to the 6th power. About how many times greater is the population of California than Colorado? So again, we have 38. So we're going to have 3,800 over 52, and you're going to get 7.307. So approximately 7.3 times. And the last one, number 31. Approximate the value of square root of 60 to the nearest hundredths. So the square root of 60 would be 7.74596 ... But it says to the nearest hundredths. This is your 10th spot. This is your 100th spot right here. So 5 is telling us to do what to 4? 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Make sure when you bubble in these charts that you are using your decimal placement also. So 7 will go in front of the decimal. 7, and then the 5 telling me to round the 4 up to a 5. Fill in your bubbles. Make sure everything's correct. If you want to color in the positive, you can, but not necessary. All right, it's a good review. If you have any questions, let me know.